Just quickly guys, I uploaded this video a few days ago to maybe like 100 people, if that. It wasn't up for long. I got smashed with some copyright issues. They have since been resolved and I've fixed that issue long term. It won't happen again. I want to thank people for the ongoing support. If you're one of the lucky few that did see it, give it a like, comment, subscribe. I will say that this is probably the best wipe and in my opinion the best video I've ever made. So enjoy. Thank you. As with everything in this game, nothing ever goes to plan. I had two separate ideas in my mind about what I was going to do this wipe, and as I was running inland to prepare to try and online raid everyone I could possibly see, I stumbled across something in Rust I'd never ever seen before. The weld generation in Rust had glitched out and created an inland oasis that I'd never ever seen before in Rust. My little RP eyes lit up and I was not about to let this opportunity go to waste. Let's just say that things didn't quite go to plan and this ended in an absolute debacle, but it was entertaining as hell to do. This video has some of the most ridiculous footage I've ever gotten in Rust to date. I'm not going to spoil too much for you, but it has a whole lot to do with submarines, rockets, and general briefing on my part between me and a bunch of ZERGs. I knew this lake was going to be hot property. I quickly put a starter down and got the materials I needed to make some externals to wall in this lake and claim it as my own. Alrighty, we've got the starter down, smashed a few nodes on the way up here, so we'll go chuck these externals down before anyone claims my little precious lake. I'm only going to put a little bit of upkeep in these so that they decay by the time I go to actually place externals. I don't have the resources for a full base yet, so we need to claim this now though. I think 3 TC should do for now. I think there's a little gap in the middle of the lake, but that's where main base will go and I'll be able to get that up soon, I reckon. No one should steal that off me, but I did notice a lot of big bases running up here, and it's kind of occurred to me that large ore rig isn't quite that far away from this little lake, so we'll go have a look and see if we can meet some of the neighbours. Oh, I mean, I kind of knew this one was coming up because my FPS just dropped to the floor, but neighbour number 1 on the other side of the hill, they look like a very, very big ZERG, so this will be interesting. Neighbour number 2. This is number 3. He can pretty much see my lake, so hopefully we won't annoy him too much. Here's number 4. They can kind of all see my lake from their roof, so this is going to be interesting, but I think it's time to get to doing a bit of farming. There's a lot of Bradley blowing up going on, so I reckon I can get into launching out between Bradley takes and get a little bit of farm built up. Battery. The next few hours I pretty much just kept a low profile. I was doing launch between the ZERGs doing Bradley. I'd pretty much gotten all the basics I needed really to get these bases up and running. I did live on the train line though that ran inland straight to the outpost, and before this place got too hectic I did a quick trip there and back to grab a SAR and a pump, and then I took my guns down to labs to try and get some tier 2 blueprints. It has been nerfed recently, the old labs, but it's still pretty viable for solos, I'm not gonna lie. I think we're in the clear. They're not scientist footsteps. The old cry for help. Oh, it's actually not too bad. Guess we'll go deeper. That's not a bad haul at all. Who needs to farm when people can do it for you? It's Wildlight Labs, it's pretty isolated, you can defend it quite easily. I'd done a bunch of mining and tree chopping off camera. I had all the resources I needed to build a base. I was not going to build a base that could be defended in raids. The whole point of this base was to be a nice little RP shack. I wanted some speakers, I wanted a disco floor, I wanted some lights, all that sort of cool stuff. So I got set about getting that little base set up. Phase 1 of Lake Paradise is done. I've got my farm base to the left, the start of my main base to the right, got my chairs out and my little umbrellas, you know. The only downside is it's starting to kick off around here, all the Zergs going to war with each other. I wonder if they won't look at me if I just continue to wave at them. Most important items, the RP ones. This is what I'm talking about. Death by a kick pedal, what do you reckon? Take it off and just beat some Zerg to death with it. This is gonna be awesome once the strobe lights get set up. I love this place already. It's what I'm talking about, look at it. Even with the new lighting upgrades around the campfires, it looks very feng shui in my lake. Now I'm starting to get why people don't PvP and they just RP. This is the life, I'm telling you. It's easier, just simpler and more fun. One thing that dawned on me a lot later than it should have was that I'm quite close to large ore rig. I thought my little lake would be a peaceful existence, but it was quite the opposite. I was surrounded 360 degrees by pretty much every Zerg base on the server. It was a high traffic area and the Zergs were starting to kick off. The Zerg you're about to see is a minor interaction, but ends up dictating the entirety of the rest of this video. These guys were starting to become pests already. They were avid submariners as well. I took my little submarine out for the first time to just go have a bit of a look and see what they were up to. Do you hear that? Where'd he come from? That was a good torpedo shot, I'm not gonna lie. Tris the rat. He's a part of the Zerg in the lake. I didn't quite expect a submarine battle that early into the wipe, but nonetheless it's happened. I'm going to go try to sort this external situation out on the back of my base. Jesus, this I'm between outpost and all these Zergs, so this train has been going like literally non-stop all day. Probably shouldn't, but I want some names of these guys. Is this Counter-Strike? Hero to 0. It's starting to get pretty heated around here. That was a new base going down between the other 50 other bases around me, but at least I still have my trusty lake. And so it begins. I'm gonna wait for this guy to get off his roof and then go for a bit of a lap. What? Yeah? I'm not gonna complain, but I don't think I could put this in this base. Well, that was probably a mistake, and that's how you get raided, but I'm getting roof camped anyway, so why not? I'm going to chuck it in the starter and hide it away, but as I was running up here, I'm pretty sure I heard the beginnings of a massive raid about to go down, so I'm going to go grub it. I don't actually think they're real rockets yet, but I don't know what that guy's doing shooting one straight up in the sky, but I think this place is about to kick off. Pretty sure they're sieging them, like they're going to break the windmills and then hit them later. I'm going to wait for it to get dark, grab a shotgun, and see what we can get away with. Look what I walked into. I 100% can pick one of these guys off. They got no turrets. It's getting day. Gonna have to do something, I think. Absolute rat. I mean, that might have been the easiest AK I've ever gotten, but I had to sit in that bush for quite some time. I don't know how they didn't see me. There's like rockets flying left, right and center, but I guess patience pays off. This server descended into absolute chaos. All the Zergs started raiding each other and it was complete bedlam in the desert. I couldn't go anywhere or do anything without being bolted from like 50 different directions. I jumped back in my sub and went for another lap out in the ocean while all that calmed down. I even went for a couple grub attempts on these raids. I hear someone. am I being followed by scuba divers? Oh, I know what they're gonna do. They're gonna sneak onto a rig and camp in the vents, but yeah, depot that kit and go look for more. I'll tell you what, I'm starting to get decent at hitting these torpedo shots. What is going on? There are like people everywhere out in the ocean at the moment. Nice. I'm just straight up farming red cards. I've got like 3 of them now and I've barely done anything to get them. If you're still watching this point, which I hope you are, my #1 tip for solo is learn the submarine. The thing is just ridiculous, like minimal effort, heaps of loot, but I heard some rockets going off on the way home. I want to go check out my little ZERG neighbour and see how they're doing. How I've gotten here is a mystery. I don't know who is raiding who there. There's like 2 bases next to each other. It's confusing, but I'm going for the hero play while this all kicks off. How many of them are there? It's like a clown car. Can't blame a guy for trying. Why am I being watched? Oh my god, it's just occurred to me. They've come over to see if I'm online, and I am, so they've gone and raided my neighbour down the road, who's another solo, who is offline. Some of these Zergs, I tell you, like... you know, whatever. This Zerg legit played like the biggest pansies I think I've ever seen in Rust. They just sit on their roof all day and bolty anyone and everything, then send nakeds out to get the loot. I'd left a bit off camera, but they were just bolting me every time I tried to leave my base, and I could not get anything done at all. I built a little rat tower next to the train line, and it's something that they like to use. For the next day, I went full toxic mode. I just sat up there bolting, and whenever they moved, HP rocketed their train, did anything and everything I could to annoy them. I even went to the effort of raiding their farm base. I was going to fight fire with fire. I was not going down being roof camped all day. I was expecting what was likely going to come next. I was adamant I was going to be offline. These guys were rats, and that's the first thing I knew that they would do. I built out my guard huts, made some externals, put a little couple secret loot stashes in there as well, and moved pretty much all of my main and important loot to these guard huts. I chucked a couple turrets down, and most importantly, I put the disco floor down. Oh, look at it! The disco floor is in prime view of the palm trees next to the deck chairs. Like, I'm telling you, mate, this is the place. But it's bedtime. Gonna wake up and be offline, but it's Rust. Haven't even had my coffee yet. Look at it. Classic Rust. Still got build proof, that's a good sign. I can get the base back. They haven't hit the externals. They probably just thought they could raid me and get rid of me, but they're not going to get rid of me that easy. Go inspect the damage, see if the guard huts are still there, and see if my loot's, but classic Rust, what can I say? Well, honestly, it's not that bad. I've still got a fair bit of my stuff left. I still have my starter bag, so I'm going to assume that hasn't been raided either, and that's got most of the stuff up the hill. Yeah, it's not. When I was doing a quick run over here, I did the count. Looks like they used about 41 rockets. They hit the tower and the farm, everything, so yeah. Done a bit more of a in-depth search now. I pretty much have everything. Like, the kits are still in the lockers, like, yeah. What an absolute waste by them. They got 12 hours of upkeep for 41 rockets. Like, plan worked. I'm not complaining. Not much of a rebuild, but yeah, it shouldn't take long to recover from this, to be honest. Look at him. He's come over to see if I'm still recovered. Yes, that's right, you didn't get the L96, so I'm going to stay up here for another day if I have to. Yep, Sudawoo, that's one of them. I wrote their names down earlier in the white. There's Triss the Rat, this guy, and a bunch of Chinese characters, so I'm going to go recycle what I have left over at night, at launch, and yeah. This guy got no sound. What? I know exactly what I'm going to do with them. In all my time in Rust, I don't think I've killed someone with that many incense rockets, but I have a little plan for these. You're going to have to hang around and see what it is, but first, I probably need to go to Oil Rig and get a few kits before I enact said plan.
Oi, can I stand on top of your sub and you drive me to Large Rig?
I'm gonna do it.
Are you actually? That'd be a G'd up move.
I'm waiting for the C4 or the satchel.
Yep, let's go. Large Rig. actually do this, bro. Fucking G. This would be fucking hilarious if you do.
This day has had a lot of firsts for me. Oh, he's on. It is kicking off up there. I've heard like 4 different guns go off.
We fucking won it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Oi, oi. Mini, wait.
Some people just built differently.
Yeah, bro, we won it. Yeah, oi. Oi, there's still an LMG, AK, and a Tommy on the floor back there. If you want to go grab them.
I was having fun being the Uber Roof submarine chaperone, but it was time to get serious. I needed some kits to defend myself against this ZERG. I was going to rebuild and piss them off twice as hard because I'm a completely rational human being, and you know, who wouldn't do that? I jumped in my sub, patrolled around the oil rig, and even did a few oil rigs myself. As I've said a few times during this video, I never went into this wipe with the intent to be raided. I was going to live a peaceful life in my little lake, but nothing ever goes to plan. If I was going to be online in this base, I was going to have a tough time, so I switched up the tactic and tried to get these guys to soak as many rockets as they possibly could into this base. I built little rat shacks, I built stash houses. I wanted them to pretty much delete me if that was the only way they were going to get rid of me. I honestly had no loot left other than just my AK kits, and I'd sunk all my tech trash into researching. I wanted to bait them into raiding me and see what more damage I could do to their sulfur stashes. So I think I've pissed them off. It might have something to do with the 16 incense rockets I dropped on their roof earlier, but I think things are about to get quite heated. They're trying to bait my wind turbines, which usually means that they're going to raid me not long after. They'll wait for the battery to die out, so let's see if they for once try to online me. Even though this base is not designed for it, yeah, let's see. Take a seat. I'm not risking anything staying out here. There's a dude on his roof with his bolty just watching me, but they aren't usually this aggro. Something's definitely going down. I tell you what, I really got inside these guys' head. I can't run around yet and do a count, but I can tell you now they dumped at least 50 plus rockets into this entire setup. They went through a bunker, they've even raided, they think, they still think I'm inside that room over there. Oh. You gotta wonder. You gotta wonder. I can't, like... Oh. I don't know how much of this I'm gonna put in the video, because this has been going on for a while now, but it's just too entertaining to watch. Just chilling out me lake. Watching them think I'm inside that room over there. Oh. 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 There we go. Is he going to recognise me? There's no way. This is like the best ending I think I've ever had to a Ross wipe. Like, oh. I'm not gonna lie, I think I was sitting on that chair for like 15 or 20 minutes. One thing I didn't show, which is a little caveat to this whole situation, is that I'd actually moved a lot of my loot to my starter after I HV rocketed these guys. They never once found my starter the whole wipe, and that base was just a 2x1 on a hill loaded. Halfway through that raid of theirs, there was a guy that came over to try and run through one of the guard huts. I GL'd him and pretty much got all my upkeep back, so like, they literally got nothing out of it, like minimal stuff. I did a count, and I came up with 121 rockets over 2 days. Like, what more can I say? If you made it this far, guys, I just want to say thanks for watching. This is one of my more insane wipes I think I've ever had. We'll be back again in a month. I'll see yous then.